So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the rest of the month. I mean, it's hard to get a forecast sometimes just a couple of days out, right? Much less a month out. But I'm going to look at some patterns that I'm seeing right now. Winter forecasting it's always my favorite thing to do because there's such a challenge in it. So we're going to look at what's going on right now across North America, the patterns that I'm seeing setting up. Plus, we're going to look at the cold that's starting to build here across Alaska and the Northwest Territories, also over into Siberia. And we're also going to take a look at some of the numbers that NOAA has recently put out. Let's start right here with what's going on across really the continent over the next couple of weeks. This is the long-term European weekly, and it's interesting to note. I want you to look. I think we do stay above average here across a good chunk of the central and western U.S. A decent ridge in the upper levels will likely keep us warm, and I'm still hinting that we're maybe a little bit near or below average across the east, especially in the northeast. And I'll show you why I think that. And I don't think it's going to be cold all month. I think we're going to get shots of colder air across the east and the northeast and around the Great Lakes as we move through October into November. Over the next week or so, we're going to get one of those shots of cool air first in the Pacific Northwest. This will move here. And then as we head through the weekend, we've got our next shot of cold air that will continue to advance across the country. If anything, this right here may actually dig a little bit deeper as we head into Sunday and Monday. That'd be the 6th and the 7th coming up. And this shot of cool air here looks pretty impressive across the northeast, also around the Great Lakes. Certainly not unprecedented for October, but with a broad northwest flow here, cooler than average across the east. And that, again, I think that's why here across the west, we stay warmer than average. Now, this is the short term, looking really through the early part of next week. Beyond that, let's kind of take a look at what's going on. And I think the European weeklies are telling a decent story with that upper level pattern as we head toward the middle of the month. This ridge across the west, I think, is going to be hard to break down. Yeah, we may get a storm from time to time, but I think this pattern here from the central part of the country west looks very ridgy. Our storm track kind of like this. We're going to show you the GFS. Everything here running like this into Canada. That makes sense this time of year. That will eventually start to drop south as we move into November, and our jet stream will become a lot more active across the country. As you can see, everything kind of sagging south here. The long-term models take that into account. But one thing that I notice here, kind of a northwest turn here, if you will, with some of these height lines. A little bit zonal, but also I would argue maybe a little bit northwest flow across the central and eastern U.S. So that may mean a couple of early shots of some cool air. Let's look at what's going on right now over the next week or so anyway. We've got a big storm here wrapping up just along the west side of the Hudson, dropping some snow here across northern parts of Canada, some cold air building here. Across the south, we've got the showers along the Gulf Coast. Another storm slamming into the west coast here. We've got another big low wrapping up just to the west of Alaska. That's going to bring a big impact here with some wind, gale force winds, big snows in the mountains, and this thing's going to occlude out and then just continue to push in the moisture here along the coastal ranges of British Columbia as our strong onshore jet flows here. Our next storm moving into parts of Manitoba, that'll move towards the Hudson Bay too. That'll drop another round of snow here into parts of Canada, and I'm talking about that a lot because the more snow we start to put down here this time of year, the colder we typically will be. So this looks pretty favorable for some cold conditions. Again, our storm track staying to the north out of the U.S., and that looks to be the pattern as we continue to see things sort of swirling around. Maybe a chance of some snow. I kind of glazed over that really quick. I've seen that over the last couple of runs here into the northeast as we head into the weekend, really Monday into Tuesday. Not a big deal, but still a quick shot of some cold air there, and then maybe another shot trying to move into the northeast as we head into late next week. So still a long way before we get to that point. Precipitation for the month. This is coming from NOAA, and look, if you think about it, it really adds up to what they're showing there on some of the models with that ridge across the west, a decent high pressure ridge here. So under that, you would likely see less precipitation than you normally would. Temperature-wise for October, lining up as well. If you had a ridge here, you're likely going to be above average. The only thing that I might wonder about is this above normal temperature outlook here, or at least the chances of seeing above normal temperatures across the northeast. While I think we may outweigh some of the cold shots with some warmer shots, but that just means we'll go up and down. So I think it's more of a roller coaster ride here with the ups and downs versus here where I think it's just going to stay warm. Across the south, equal chances here. I mean, what is that like? We don't really know. Well, I would argue maybe it's maybe typical. However, I will say that you get these shots of cool air here, for example, coming up into Monday and Tuesday. So while it won't be extremely cold in the southeast, temperatures would likely be in this pattern at or below normal. And then maybe after this goes by, so now you've got a ridge building, and it looks pretty decent as we head toward the 11th and the 12th. So maybe warmer than average, but if anything, look, across the Northeast, there's your cold air. Again, another shot of below normal temperatures. All you got to do is follow the lines, guys. Follow the height lines. Where are they coming from? They're coming from Canada. It's colder in Canada, right? It makes logical sense. So again, then you got to go, is this right? Looking out to the 11th. I mean, we're talking, many days from now still. So a lot to come. So if you enjoy this, hope you'll come back, and hope you have a great day wherever you are. Thanks for watching. See you next time.